Broadcasting Award.
The FAA levies a $2 million maintenance fine against Pan Am. The FAA also begins a drug investigation of its Southern California air controllers.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening, I'm Roger Mudd, sitting in for Tom Brokaw. The $1,950,000 fine against Pan American is the second largest the Federal Aviation Administration has levied. It was the result of a 2-month investigation of Pan Am, which is the nation's 5th largest airline, and until recently was basically an international carrier. Here's Robert Hager in Washington.
The government cited Pan American for almost 4,000 maintenance violations. In one case, it said the airline permitted a 747 to fly in spite of 6 fuel leaks from a tank on one wing. In another case, a 737 on which mechanics knew both engines were not functioning properly was permitted to fly 27 flights before repair. And a plane in transcontinental service was permitted to make 39 flights with a throttle which was slipping. Mechanics made a log entry saying they didn't have time to fix it. Pan American won't contest the fine, but it said that no maintenance discrepancies at any time compromised safety to the traveling public. The Federal Aviation Administration said Pan Am has agreed to reorganize its maintenance and add 200 people, and did say it believes the airline continues to operate safely. Some charge that maintenance problems began 8 years ago when the government deregulated airlines. Scores of new lines set off price wars, and almost all airlines ran into financial problems. Some analysts believe maintenance was put on a back burner. Jordan Green, an aviation consultant in Miami.
You're living in a dream world. You're postponing and avoiding, and you keep saying to yourself and everyone around, well, we can catch up on that next month. We're going to be better off next month. The finances are going to be better. We can do that. We can catch up. But next month doesn't come.
But it wasn't until well into 1985, the worst year in history for aviation fatalities, that the government, conscious of the unfavorable publicity, began a crackdown on maintenance. Since then, American Airlines has been fined $1.5 million, and Eastern has been fined $9.5 million, which it's contesting. Congressman Guy Molinari of New York serves on the Aviation Subcommittee.
We're finding that it's getting to be the pattern throughout the system today, and carrier after carrier being found guilty of the same kinds of practices, shoddy practices, and that's a warning sign that the system is slipping.
The government, which until recently was cutting back on surveillance of maintenance, is now scrambling to add new inspectors. But some say even those new inspectors will be hopelessly overburdened, and the only effective way for the government to send a message to the airlines is through fines such as today's. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Last night at the Denver airport, a TWA flight from St. Louis was making a routine landing when flames began flaring from an engine. As soon as the plane landed, there was a harum-scarum evacuation from the TriStar. 13 people were hurt and treated for minor injuries. The plane carried 228 passengers, and one of them said the evacuation was somewhat less than orderly. There was a fierce panic, he said. Everybody was terrified. A federal investigator said today the engine fire was from a residual fuel buildup in the tailpipe and was a common occurrence. Police in Edmond, Oklahoma said today that both pistols used in Wednesday's post office massacre had been issued to mail carrier Patrick Sherrill by the National Guard. A high-ranking National Guard official now wants a review of the way guns are issued, weapons that in this case were meant for target competition. Today, amid the first funerals for the 14 slain postal workers, the town continued to try to come to grips with its grief. Robert Elliott reports.
The people of Edmond began burying their dead today. Postal Supervisor Rick Esser was remembered by his friends, his family, and his co-workers.
Why? We pray that he now knows. We know that we do not.
When Patrick Sherrill entered the post office, Esser was the first to be killed. On several occasions, Esser had been forced to discipline Sherrill, but co-workers say their boss was fair and understanding.
Rick was genuine. There wasn't any fake to him, so we all respected him and loved him and wish him the best.
Esser leaves behind a wife and children. Close friends say he was outgoing, positive, and most of all, a family man.
He was just such a good dad, and it's hard when someone like that dies,
NOVA, the National Organization for Victim Assistance, has been working with the families of the victims, helping them deal with their rage and sometimes just listening.
One husband, when I first saw him, of course, he had to talk, so he just poured his heart out, but had questions about God or why, these kind of things. He just wanted to talk about how much he loved his wife for about 30 minutes.
Counselors are telling people here that their feelings of pain and anger are normal and to be expected. Funeral services continue tomorrow, and a city memorial tribute is scheduled for Sunday. Robert Elliott, NBC News, Edmond, Oklahoma.
Also on our broadcast tonight, Irving R. Levine takes another close, hard look at tax reform, and with Dodge Morgan at the helm, we'll take a 150-day trip around the world in less than 4 minutes.
Oh, a headache now. Anybody seen my extra strength bufferin?
Yeah, my shoulder hurt. And Kim took it. Sore leg.
It'll help that. Kim, got my bufferin?
Steve does. Got a backache moving scenery.
I don't know how good my bufferin is.
Extra strength bufferin for Steve's backache, Kim's legs, John's shoulder, Debbie's headache. It goes to where you hurt fast with an extra strength dose of relief.
Curtain going up.
And I'm ready.
For headaches and a lot more, extra strength bufferin, also in regular strength from Bristol-Myers.
Morning, decaffeinated drinkers.
The day's looking new and bright.
It is.
And you're gonna start it right.
I am.
'Cause there's Folgers for you that's decaffeinated too. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Mornings are brighter with Mountain Grown Folgers decaffeinated because Mountain Grown coffee has more enticing aroma.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Decaffeinated.
My daughter came out to visit, and the guys at Mazda lent me this 323 for her to drive. She knew right away it wasn't just another small car, because it's more like a small road car. Smooth, quiet, solid, and roomy. I even told her if she wanted to get one with her own money, what a good deal it is. I'm really glad she's grown up to be sensible and practical, just like her old man.
Yeah. Right, Dad.
The radioactive fallout from Chernobyl was far worse than previously reported, according to the official Soviet report on the accident. NBC News has obtained a summary of the report, which is to be submitted to the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna on Monday. The report says that 24 hours after the accident, radiation was 100,000 times above normal within a 6-mile radius. 2 weeks later, it was still 500 times above normal for 30 miles around. As for Kiev, a city of more than 2 million, just 70 miles from Chernobyl, the radiation was 80 times normal as late as 1 week after the accident. An American doctor who visited Chernobyl victims says that from 10,000 to 35,000 people may eventually die of radiation. Dr. Wes Wallace of Round Rock, Texas, said that in addition, up to 50,000 people could get cancer. In the Philippines today, Jaime Cardinal-Sin, who was instrumental in the downfall of the Marcos regime, now says the gains of the revolution are little by little being lost. The influential Archbishop of Manila said the rich are starting to get greedy again and the number of poor people is growing. In Central America, the Honduran government said today it will not permit U.S. troops to use Honduras as a training ground for the Contra rebels fighting the Nicaraguan regime. It said it has clarified this position with the U.S., which is now drafting a plan to have its soldiers train the Contras. A different rebel force supported by the U.S. is fighting the Soviet-backed government of Angola. Today, Angola's president said he was ready to begin talks aimed at improving relations with the United States, but only if the U.S. stopped supporting the Angolan rebels. That support had rebel leader Jonas Savimbi elated when he met with reporters last night. Here's NBC's Mike Betcher.
The largest portrait in the main camp of the UNITA rebels pays tribute to the two men viewed as saviors here, UNITA leader Jonas Savimbi and Ronald Reagan. The Marxist government controls 2/3 of Angola with the help of Soviet advisors and 30,000 Cuban troops. UNITA protects its third with South African and now American help. This year, with President Reagan's backing, Congress approved tens of millions of dollars worth of American military equipment to the UNITA rebels. On Savimbi's shopping list were expensive Stinger anti-aircraft missiles and anti-tank weapons.
I'm telling you that we got all we have asked President Reagan to give us.
Last week, the Reverend Jesse Jackson toured Angola. He left critical of U.S. policy here.
If we can respect Angola enough to come here and work, and come here and pump oil, and come here and sell farm products, we can respect them enough to recognize them officially and have a sound diplomatic relationship.
But at Savimbi's side were two Americans who were here to show support for the president's Angola policy.
We believe that black Africa ought to be run by black Africans for black Africans, and not by white Soviets.
Thousands of black Angolans on both sides have died. Angola's civil war has become a superpower test of will. Savimbi now charges that the Angolan army is using Soviet-supplied chemical weapons against his men, but he produced no evidence. The UNITA rebels welcome the rapid escalation of the war. They say they want only to rule Angola, and they believe the new U.S. help has brought them closer to that day. Mike Betcher, NBC News, South Africa.
The Reagan administration said today it's taken steps to tighten the U.S. trade embargo against Cuba. Among other things, it said it's ordered an end to Cuban immigration to the United States from third countries, charging that Cuba had made immigrants pay up to $30,000 to leave. The State Department called this a cynical trafficking in human beings.
You know, you can do what you want with your face. When your hair doesn't look good, you look terrible. Before I started using Affinity, my hair had a real problem with breakage and lack of fullness. Time really takes its toll.
Affinity is made for hair that time has changed. Its patented formula helps hair resist breaking and thinning, so there's less hair in the brush, more hair here. Fuller hair begins with Affinity. Try new Affinity conditioner, too.
When my hair looks good, I feel great.
Who's producing the highest quality cars and trucks designed and built in America?
We found out by asking the people who drive them.
In 1986, and for 6 years running, Ford is designing and building the highest quality American cars and trucks, according to nationwide surveys.
Maybe that's why so many drivers are buying cars and trucks built by Ford Motor Company.
That's what happens when you make quality job one.
Quality is job one.
New Raisinette bread.
Took the wrinkles out of raisins and the blonde out of brown.
How'd they do that?
We took raisins plump and juicy and rolled them with nuts. They said we couldn't do it, but...
Amazing, a nut-covered raisin.
New Raisinette brand. Crunchy bran flakes, plump nut-covered raisins. Taste better than ordinary raisin brands.
'Cause these aren't ordinary raisins, they're raisin nuts. We took the wrinkles out of raisins and the blonde out of brown.
New Raisinette brand.
The Federal Aviation Agency today announced that it is now investigating allegations of drug use by some of its air traffic controllers in Southern California, and that several dozen have now been shifted from active duty. Here's Don Oliver in Palmdale, California.
238 air traffic controllers work here at the Regional Control Center in Palmdale, California. FAA officials confirmed today that 34 of the controllers have been removed from their jobs because there is an investigation they were involved in off-duty use of cocaine and hashish.
My actions were based on the results of the investigation to date. That investigation is still in progress. As of this time, none of the employees has been charged with any crime, nor have the allegations been proven.
Several air traffic controllers from the Palmdale Center were at the news conference, but they refused to talk to reporters. The FAA has a rule prohibiting drug use on or off the job.
The FAA would not comment on what prompted the investigation, but other sources say it stemmed from a party held a month ago by a number of air traffic controllers at which drugs were allegedly used. The Palmdale Center controls more than 1.5 million airplanes a year. The FAA spokesman says the removal of 34 air traffic controllers will cause only minimal problems in staffing. One controller leaving work today, who did not want to be identified, addressed that issue.
Well, we've had overtime all along, so it's nothing new, and really there is no union involved right now at all, so actually there's nothing significant, really.
The FAA says it has no evidence of any air traffic control problems as a result of drug use by employees here, and no indication any drugs were used by air traffic controllers while on duty. Don Oliver, NBC News, Palmdale, California.
In New York today, the official campaign against illegal drugs took the highly visible form of a harbor blockade. It was advertised as the first blockade of the New York harbor since the British tried it in the War of 1812. The British lost that war, and the anti-drug campaigners today didn't do much better. But as NBC's Richard Valeriani reports tonight, they did win plenty of attention from the media.
It was called Operation Glass Eye. Coast Guardsmen stopped and boarded every small boat entering New York Harbor and searched it for drugs. The operation began last night and continued through sundown tonight.
The message should be quite clear. We're going to get you. We might not get you today, we may not get you tomorrow, but we're going to get the drug traffickers in the port of New York and indeed throughout the ports in the United States.
They didn't get them today and no drugs were found, perhaps because the Coast Guard held news conferences while the operation was still in progress and because advance word leaked out. Operation Glass Eye is the latest in a series of high-profile, well-publicized anti-drug crackdowns in this area, now that drugs have become a hot political issue. Last month, U.S. Attorney Rudolph Giuliani and Senator Alphonse D'Amato dressed in Hell's Angels garb and bought crack on the street to show how easy it was. Their adventure was criticized by other officials as a publicity stunt. New York police recently began confiscating the cars of people buying drugs on the street. Yesterday, about 200 so-called head shops were raided, and almost 40,000 pipes of the kind used to smoke crack were seized. In each case, the operation was announced at a news conference by the police commissioner and the mayor.
This is war, and we expect to win this war.
Some drug abuse experts dismissed these kinds of events as theatrics.
And so they're doing dramatic things, which if you take each of them and measure them against the problem, we in the field know there's absolutely no impact.
O'Brien and others say the drug problem cannot be dealt with effectively until there's an all-out effort involving prevention, enforcement, and treatment in a coordinated program. Richard Valeriani, NBC News, New York.
The Kerr-McGee Corporation agreed today to pay the family of Karen Silkwood $1.33 million in an out-of-court settlement of a 10-year-old lawsuit. Silkwood had charged that she'd been contaminated by plutonium because of safety problems at the company's Oklahoma plant. Kerr-McGee maintains there were no safety problems, saying that it agreed to the settlement to avoid more legal costs. Silkwood died in a car accident in 1974. Her 3 children will share about $500,000, with the rest going to lawyers.
We pulled the wool over Mrs. Johnson's eyes.
What's this?
Feel.
This pink side's much softer. Fresher.
Brand W cleans. Delicare cleans softer, fresher.
I'm switching to Delicare.
Clean, softer, fresher care. New Delicare.
Does your multivitamin measure up to Avail? Avail is the only multivitamin that's calcium intensive. So you get your vitamins, minerals, and all the extra calcium you need in one tablet. For vitamins and calcium together, nothing measures up to Avail.
You don't have to come out here to understand performance. The car has either got it or it doesn't. Now, if having more driving fun makes sense to you, you're going to like Mazda 626. It's got a slick new computer-controlled fuel injection system that gives you a bunch more horsepower to play with. But you can always try to tell yourself the real reason you want it is its good looks and great value.
And forget the performance?
I said you could try.
When you need it most, you can get extra strength relief from acid indigestion with extra strength Riopan Plus. In lab tests, it neutralizes twice the acid as regular Maalox or Mylanta. It's that strong. You can also get extra strength relief from heartburn with extra strength Riopan Plus. Ounce for ounce, it neutralizes twice the acid as regular Maalox or Mylanta. It's that strong. Extra strength Riopan Plus. Regular strength, too.
Even though the tax reform bill has yet to win final approval in the Congress, it is already being dissected by the experts, and they're finding some surprises. NBC's economics correspondent Irving R. Levine reports tonight that despite the advertised cuts in the tax rate next year, at least many Americans will find their taxes going up.
From accounting firms, after a week of studying the new tax bill, the unhappy word for many Americans is no tax cut next year, instead higher taxes in 1987.
Well, a lot of upper-income people are going to get a rude shock. They're going to pay some more taxes.
On the average, my clients will probably be paying $5,000 to $6,000 more in 1987
One reason, congressional tax writers stress that the top tax rate will be 28%, but that starts only in 1988. Next year, the top rate is much higher, 38.5%. Families with incomes above $45,000 a year are in for the rudest shock.
They're going to be bruised, and they're going to be paying more taxes.
Take the Johnsons. Only the name is fictitious, the figures are real. Husband and wife, both working, 2 children, taxable income $47,200. Some deductions remain the same in 1987 under the new bill, but others are scaled down sharply, and some are eliminated completely. The bottom line, the Johnsons' tax bill will be $213 more in 1987. People with incomes over $100,000 will be hit with an especially bigger tax bill next year because of the higher tax on capital gains and the loss of some deductions for tax shelters.
You have to understand that when you're making a massive reform of the tax system, you can't have everybody winners.
There's plenty of disappointment to go around.
Who wants to pay more taxes? I don't. I'm going to be hurt, and I'm not sure who's going to be helped.
Those who will be helped are Americans with incomes below $50,000 a year who took few deductions in the past. But even they may be disappointed at how small their 1987 tax savings will be. Irving R. Levine, NBC News, Washington.
The Reagan White House has finally dismantled the last vestiges of the Carter administration. Workmen have now taken down the solar water heating system installed on the White House roof in 1979. The Carter prediction was that it would save $1,000 a year. A spokesman for the General Services Administration said today, however, savings had been negligible.
The amazing Isuzu Trooper 2. Its four-wheel drive can take you anywhere. In fact, I drove it up here myself. It has more seats than the Astrodome, plus enough cargo space to carry Texas. And Isuzu will accept marbles and seashells as payment, but they're selling fast, so you have to come in 5 minutes. You have my word on it.
Right now, your local Isuzu dealer is offering great deals on 2- and 4-door Trooper 2s.
Fixing this water damage will cost $1,200. Could I have prevented it?
You could with Thompson's Water Seal.
This water damage is going to run $750. What would have stopped it?
Prevent water damage with Thompson's Water Seal. Simply brush Thompson's on wood, brick, or concrete, and it penetrates to form a barrier water can't get past, even when driven by 98-mile-per-hour winds.
This time, I'm going to protect my new deck with Thompson's Water Seal. A great defense against repair expense.
On Meet the Press, the issue Dissent in the Catholic Church. The guest, the Reverend Charles Curran of Catholic University and Archbishop John P. Foley of the Vatican. Sunday on Meet the Press.
I want my Serta.
Here's why people want their Serta. Why they're spoiled for any other mattress. Only Serta goes beyond just being firm. Beyond what others do. We top our support with the extra comfortable Serta Surface. A unique difference you can feel in a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
And now, get the Serta you want, including Perfect Sleeper at big savings. It's the nationwide Serta truckload sale, now at participating stores.
Our special segment tonight. Ever since 1895, when Joshua Slocum became the first to sail around the world alone, sailors have been trying to do it faster. Until this year, the world record was just under 10 months. But Dodge Morgan, an amateur sailor and electronics millionaire, knew he could beat that. He commissioned what he hoped would be the world's fastest one-man sailboat, the 60-foot American Promise, rigged it with automatic pilot and video cameras. On November 12th, 1985, Morgan left Bermuda alone to circle the world.
I can't tell you how terrible I felt on those first 2 days after leaving my family. I was actually despondent. Maybe for the first time in my life. We're into the second week. And I'm at peace with myself now. I miss the family and the friends, but it isn't painful now. The boat and I are getting along. We are in the process of crossing the equator, going from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. We've had a visit by several hundred dolphins here. Note that they really like it when I make an idiot out of myself. They seem to like it. They come right out of the water and jump and look at me. It's been good company. This is sure miserable, sitting here sliding around in the horse latitudes with no wind at all. This is over a week now of this weather. And I'm just about ready to lose my mind. I can't take it. Mountain of seas back there. No picture can ever really tell you how huge they are. Woo! 40, 50, 55 feet. Boy, what a long time between warm embraces. I still have trouble thinking of another 110 days, which it is approximately. The children, they'll be different when I get back. They will have changed. I miss them. We got a 213-mile day just closed. That's my birthday present, my 54th birthday present from Promise. And she's just powering along like an incredible machine, almost alive with strength. We have traveled 18,500 miles for this landfall. It is the sailor's ultimate landfall. And so it's time for us to have a little celebration. And this one is for Cape Horn. I'll have your first drink, Cape. The rest is yours. Let's go home. What do you do to prepare to see people for the first time in 5 months? I don't know, he said. What do you do? Well, you might take a shower. I'll do that. I'll take a shower.
On April 11th this year, in the world record time of 150 days, American Promise came home.
I have made up my mind that the race I really want to belong to and join is the human race. I'm going to stay ashore for a while.
That's Nightly News for Friday. I'm Roger Mudd in New York. Good night.
Be long now. They'll soon be mine. The A-team will soon be my team. I love it when a plan comes together.
Saturday, Hunter makes a sharp move to its new night.
Interesting, huh?
With action that'll blow your socks off.
I get the feeling we're in the big time here.
Hunter and McCall, Saturday.
Up next on the scene at 6, Metro school officials report one of the highest enrollments in years. A Nashville man is sentenced for burning and raping a 5-month-old child. We'll look at some of the effects of the construction and the population boom in Nashville, and we'll take a look and listen to a special collection of radio highlights.
These stories and more news coming up next on the scene at 6.
Hello, Nashville. I'm Amy Grant. You know, with all the time I spend on the road, there's nothing better than coming home to Tennessee. It's sort of like being back with family again. So I hope you'll join me at my concert at Starwood Amphitheater on Friday, August 29th. It's WSMV's Family Night.